On the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu assures Nigerians that ongoing security reforms will soon yield results. Former Senate leader Ali Ndume calls for expanded joint military operations with the United States to dismantle Boko Haram. Federal government announces deployment of 7,000 forest guards across 7 pilot states to boost intelligence gathering. Abroad, China imposes sanctions on 20 United States defense companies. Good evening and welcome to Delta Television Main News. My name is Perpetua Ibooba. You can follow our news online on Facebook at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba and on YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. And to the details. President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians that ongoing reforms in the country's security architecture will soon yield tangible results. President Tinubu made the remark during a meeting with a delegation of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, led by Archbishop Daniel Oko at his Lagos residence. The president called on the church to collaborate with his administration in strengthening security and achieving national aspirations. He highlighted plans to establish state and community police, while noting that delays in acquiring military hardware, including 4 attack helicopters from the United States, were affecting public perception. The president also appealed for vigilance following the recent abduction and release of school children in Niger and Kebbi states, stressing that the government remained committed to restoring peace and security. Archbishop Oko commended the president for his commitment to addressing Nigeria's socio-economic and security challenges. He assured the administration of the church's support, urging continued engagement through CAN's local structure, and called for the release of funds to the Christian Pilgrims Board to enable it fulfill its mandate. In a related development, the Christian Northern Nigerian Political Forum, CNNPF, says President Bola Tinubu's leadership has contributed to improve stability across the country. The Bauchi State Coordinator of the group, Mr. Ayuba Dogara, made the statement during the distribution of 1,000 bags of rice donated by the wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, to vulnerable Christian communities in the state. He said the intervention would help cushion the effects of economic hardship. Vice President Kashim Shettima has visited victims of the recent bomb blast at a mosque in the Gamboro market area of Maiduguri, Borno State, to commiserate with those affected and pledge federal government support. The visit followed Wednesday's explosion during Maghrib prayers. During the visit, Senator Shettima met victims receiving treatment and conveyed the sympathy of President Bola Tinubu and the federal government to the injured and families of those who lost their lives. The vice president assured them of continued assistance in the aftermath of the attack. About 5 people were killed, while 35 others were injured in the blast at the Al-Adom Jumat Mosque. Security agencies had since intensified surveillance in the area as investigations continue. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, has expressed confidence that Nigeria will overcome banditry and other security challenges next year and beyond. He urged Nigerians to embrace peace, unity, and collective responsibility for national development. Senator Akpabio stated this at a prayer and fasting service in Asian Udim local government area of Akwa Ibom State, where he also called on citizens to support the administration of President Bola Tinubu in tackling insecurity. Former Senate leader, Senator Ali Ndume, has called on the federal government to extend joint military operations with the United States to Nigeria's northeast. Ndume said the move would help dismantle remaining Boko Haram and ISWAP strongholds in Lake Chad, Sambisa Forest, and the Mandara Mountains. He also commended President Bola Tinubu for allocating what he described as the highest defense budget in the proposed 2026 appropriation, while urging transparency in its utilization. The lawmaker expressed sympathy with victims of the recent suicide bomb attack in Maiduguri, Borno State. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, says recent United States airstrikes on terrorist targets in Nigeria marked a new phase in the fight against insecurity. Speaking at a television program, Ambassador Tugar said the action showed Nigeria's resolve and readiness to work with international partners to combat terrorism. He explained that the federal government was focused on results rather than the motives behind the intervention, stressing that the country's security situation required urgent and practical solutions. The minister added that Nigeria approved the operation and provided intelligence, noting that the strikes were part of ongoing security cooperation to weaken terrorist networks and address insecurity and banditry across the country. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, has assured that Nigeria will continue to maintain a respected position among nations with the armed forces in combating terrorism and other crimes. General Oluyede gave the assurance during the Chief of Defense Staff and Chief of Army Staff joint Christmas lunch with troops and their families and at the 26th Battalion Parade Ground, Guinea, Katome duty. The Nigerian Air Force said its C-130 aircraft, NAF 913, has arrived safely at a maintenance facility in Lisbon, Portugal, marking the final phase of its movement for scheduled depot maintenance. The aircraft was earlier detained in Burkina Faso over alleged airspace violations, but was later released following high-level diplomatic engagement led by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Yusuf Tugar. NAF spokesperson Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame confirmed that the ferry flight, which transited Banjul and Casablanca, was completed without incident, adding that all crew members are safe and in high spirits. The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, is on January 1 next year as scheduled. He explained that the reforms were aimed at the implementation. The Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, Mr. Shehu Mohammed, has praised officers and men of the Corps for their professionalism and resilience in managing heavy traffic during the Christmas travel period across the country. Mr. Mohammed in a statement said the commitment of personnel helped clear major gridlock on key corridors, including Lokoja access, despite long hours and harsh conditions. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, says 2025 recorded significant gains for the maritime sector. Director General of the agency, Mr. Dayo Maberiola, listed achievements to include sustained zero piracy in the country's waters and Nigeria's election into Category C of the International Maritime Organization Council. He assured stakeholders of renewed commitment to maritime safety and security in 2026. Nigerian Customs Service Lagos Free Trade Zone Command says it generated 661.5 billion naira between January and November 2025. The Customs Comptroller Hawa Abubakar described the year as productive, attributing the success to professionalism, discipline, and teamwork. You're watching the Delta Television main news. Still to come, China imposes sanctions on United States defense companies. Did this and more after the break.
If tanker wey carry fuel fall or pipe wey carry fuel for underground burst, wetin you go do? You go begin bae fuel put for your bucket, or you go run comot far for where the fire go soon come. Na only small time you get to take this wise decision. Waka comot, no, that one no dey enough. Shift, no, that one no dey enough. Stay there dey gist and take pictures with your phone. That na madness. Run, yes, run comot. Yes, your life depend on wetin you do. The fire go come at once and you no go fit control am. Why? Petrol dey catch fire easily. Why? Na just small spark go start big fire. So no stay there dey think. Run comot quick to save your life. No throw away your life away because of say you wan pack petrol. Take this advice. This informate na from Public Enlightenment Office, Delta Broadcasting Service, Asaba.
No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. You show up for me every day. No matter when I show you, you show me love. You show me. No matter when I show you, you show me love.
Weather will be sunny with a high of 31.
Alexa, music please.
Play out music.
Striving for mass, you need speed, precision, and clarity of purpose. They all add up. Talent is not enough. You've got to prove that you're able to take advantage of unlimited opportunities when they come. And to do that, you need plenty of data. Scratch that.
Access granted.
And your all-powerful router.
Home or office, enjoy unlimited data on a Glow. Dial.
The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
Russia attacked Kyiv and other parts of Ukraine with hundreds of missiles and drones today, ahead of what President Volodymyr Zelensky said would be a crucial meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump to work out a plan to end nearly 4 years of war. President Zelensky cast the vast overnight attack, which he said involved about 500 drones and 40 missiles, and which knocked out power and heat in parts of the capital, as Russia's response to the ongoing peace efforts brokered by Washington. The Ukrainian leader has said tomorrow's talk in Florida will focus on security guarantees and territorial control once fighting ends in Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. Started by Russia's 2022 invasion of its smaller neighbor. The attack continued throughout the morning, and a nearly 10-hour air raid alert for the capital only ended at 11:20 a.m. Authorities said 2 people were killed in Kyiv and the surrounding regions, while at least 46 people were wounded, including 2 children. China has announced fresh sanctions on 20 U.S. defense firms, including a Boeing branch, over Washington's latest arms sales to Taiwan, the island Beijing's claim. The United States has long been Taiwan's biggest arms supplier, despite China viewing the democratic island as part of its territory and refusing to rule out using force to bring it under control. Taipei said this month that Washington had improved $11 billion in defense sales in what will be one of the largest weapons package for the island. China criticized the deal and announced new sanctions against Boeing defense manufacturing outposts in St. Louis, aerospace giant Northrop Grumman, and others. The companies appear to have little or no business in China, and some have been previously sanctioned by Beijing. Chinese entities will be banned from working with the firms, and their assets in the country will be frozen. Beijing's foreign ministry said the arms sales violate the One China principle, seriously damaging China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. China also sanctioned 10 industry executives, banning them from entering the country, including Hong Kong and Macau.
Let's join our business news desk for stories on business and the economy.
states and local operation account inflow surge. Figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria's latest quarterly statistic bulletin reveal that the banking sector's claims on state and local government fell from 2.68 trillion naira in June 2024 to 2.13 trillion naira in June 2025. This means subnational governments collectively cut their indebtedness to commercial and merchant banks by 20.4% year-on-year. Further analysis shows that in January 2024, banks' exposure to states and councils stood at 2.73 trillion naira. 1 year later, in January 2025, the figure had dropped to 2.44 trillion naira, indicating that about 292 billion naira was cleared during that period. The outstanding balance then ticked up slightly in February 2025 to 2.59 trillion naira and eased again to 2.55 trillion naira in March 2025. By April and May 2025, exposure steadied around 2.44 trillion naira to 2.45 trillion naira before a sharp decline to 2.13 trillion naira in June 2025, representing the largest single-month adjustment during the year. Year-on-year, June provided the clearest shift. The banks were owed 2.68 trillion naira in June 2024, but the balance had fallen by more than half a trillion naira a year later. Month-on-month, the drop from May 2025's 2.45 trillion naira to June 2025's 2.13 trillion naira amounted to about 313 billion naira, signaling an aggressive push to unwind bank obligations at the end of the second quarter amid high interest rates and rising FAC allocations. The Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria has renewed its call for the privatization of Nigeria's 4 state-owned refineries, urging the federal government to transparently conclude the process by the first quarter of 2026. The association said the timely privatization of the refineries operated by the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, would eliminate the recurring fiscal burden on the government, improve operational efficiency, attract private capital and technical expertise, and align Nigeria's refining sector with global best practices. In a statement, the Petron National President, Billy Gill Harris, said sustained public funding of the refineries has failed to deliver optimal results over the years, making private sector-led management inevitable if the country is to achieve energy security and stability in the downstream petroleum sector. Gillis Harris stressed that privatization, if properly executed, would encourage competition, ensure sustainable refinery operations, reduce Nigeria's dependence on imported petroleum products, conserve foreign exchange, and support job creation across the value chain.
The executive